I've spent over $2,000 over the last 3 weeks to secure more inventory for my next show, and some of these deals should not have been available. So let's go through everything I picked up and see if I came out ahead. And so the running total that we're going to have here is based off pretty much the price I paid for as well as the market value. So there's about 3 different lots that I want to go through that I picked up over the last few weeks. So we're going to keep track of exactly how much we paid for all this and as well as how much market value comes out to, and we're keeping track about right here. So this first lot we're going to go through is going to be stuff that I picked up at a local show a few weeks ago. So here we just have some basic hollows and reverse hollows that I picked up. Some stamped in here as well. These energies look really cool. So like I said, so not super expensive stamped cards, but still do hold its value, and as well as they're a good draw when you see them in the binder on the front page. We have like a Pop Series 2 one and then a Minin and Plusle. I did sell mine a couple shows ago, so I figured to go ahead and pick up another pair. All this is like pretty lightly played. I did pick up also some graded cards. So I'm also have a few things on here that I want to make a play on. So this one being the first one. So this is Rocket's Hitmonchan. I picked this up for about $125 cash along with some trade-in, so about $200 total. I'm going to crack this and resubmit it. As a PSA 9, this can come out to about $600 as of last sold. Worst case scenario, if it does get an 8, about $200. So this can be one of those plays to kind of test out a few theories of mine and so kind of see how that goes. This Drowsy I picked up for about $50. I think this one right now market is about 70 to 75. These two Mews, $55 each. They had them priced at. I just paid them. I didn't really negotiate. I think as of right now they're about $90 each. This Electabuzz is a PSA 8. It's a very old cert. It's a 4 cert. But as you can kind of see, it has a crack in the slab. So this one that was given to me, he priced it at $80, but he gave it to me for about 40 just because of the cracked slab. I don't know if I'm going to reholder this because it might take away the value and they might regrade it just because of where the crack is. So I might just crack it out and sell it raw. I'm not entirely sure on that just yet. But that was a few things that I picked up from that show. All right, so these next cards are going to be lots that I picked up from eBay, singles I bought from eBay, and also as well as Mercari, and a few of them that I picked out from stuff that I've already had. A previous lot that I bought that will end up going to be graded, and we'll go over that. So the first one's going to be this Gyarados. So this Gyarados, I really love this one. So this one's I picked up for around $200. It was a very early listing and they put it by now. This one usually goes for about $325. This Sabrina's Gengar, this one I had picked up if you were following along my first edition journey. This one was in that lot. Overall, I think per card I paid for the rares maybe $20 to $30 each, including this one. And I'm still working into selling the rest of those cards. This one raw is anywhere between $300 to $400. It's actually a very clean copy. There is maybe like one whitening dot like there and like a little bit of spotting like on the blue here on the very edge of the border. But in a 9, this goes for well over $1,000. If it goes any less than that, I think like an 8's about $600 to $700. But raw's $400. So this one's going to be one of those that gets graded, and like I said, we'll add up just the market value and then like a what if. This will be included in that what if. These next ones are going to be a Mercari lot. So all these are going to be Neo Discovery. These I bought all together. I think I paid $225 for the entire lot. Value wise for all of them is $285. But all these are really clean. So the Yanma right here, beautiful swirl. Politoed, I love this card. I had this when I was younger. RIP my binder. But still very clean. All these are really like pretty much LP. I think one of them is like MP, and we'll get to that one. Hitmontop's got a nice little swirl by its foot there. Poliwrath, also another really good swirl, and overall like really clean. All these are really good. So I like to buy things in lots because that's typically how you get better deals, as well as you'll be able to find some stuff that you may not have noticed or you might have passed over otherwise. Kabutop's also really clean. I think most of these have like some light scuffing. This one's a little bit more played on the back. But this Tyranitar is very good. I bought this one just because this was on there, and I didn't really quite get a good look at it, especially not the back. They didn't have a photo, so I took the risk on it. But unfortunately, there's like a weird little... Here, I'll take it out. So with this one, there's got like a perforated like kind of marking all around the bottom by like the energy retreat cost. You can kind of see it go across there right here. I did not notice that, so I may try to communicate with the seller to see about maybe getting like a little bit of discount on that. But if not, no big deal. So this next lot right here is going to be the biggest purchase I've made in a while, as well as why I took a risk on it. is just, it was almost a no-brainer. And I was really glad to pick it up. So we'll go through some of these, and I kind of want to hide off to the side a little bit what I picked up. So these next cards are pretty much what convinced me to buy this entire lot, along with one other card right after it, and everything else is just icing on the cake. So we're going to go through these next. So Shadowless First Edition Electabuzz. This one's very beat up. You can kind of see there's a lot of black spots all over it. It's pretty heavy played on the back as well. So I think maybe $20 is what that one was, but everything else is going to be pretty high end. So we have the Magikarp here, First Edition. It's a very light stamp, so people do sometimes pay more for a gray stamp. This one I think is around like $150. We had a Dragonair First Edition. Very clean card. Not the Air, but it's still a really solid card. I think this one goes around $140, $150-ish as well. Still very clean. I mean, it's LP, so LP, NP, just kind of depend who you ask. But, I mean, for vintage, it's kind of hard to be 100% in agreement with somebody else on that. But then here's the Charmeleon First Edition. Very clean. I think this one is definitely a lot cleaner than the other one. This Starmie is actually heavy played. There's a giant crease right at the bottom there. You might be able to see like where it folds over. But that's it right there. That's like the $20 card, so not very much. The bigger of the six is going to be our Shadowless First Edition Squirtle. I think this one goes around $140, $150 as well. So they're kind of all on the same page, but I think this one's going to be the easier sell of them all. Again, just some LP, some whining at the top there. And then we have our first holo, our First Edition Machamp from Shadowless base set. This one's not as popular. I think this one's like $20. It's, you know, pretty heavy played, as most of these are. So you're not going to really find a really, really super clean copy of this very often anymore. But that was a good one too. So this next one is what sold me on the entire lot, and which is why I was willing to drop so much on it, because this one, in supplement of those First Edition cards, is pretty much what's going to pay for this entire lot. And that is going to be Team Aqua's Kyogre. Now in this lot, this was pictured like number 22 or 23 out of 30 total photos. Anybody that would glance over lots like this would have missed this. Lucky for me, I like to go through everything just to make sure and cover all my bases and make sure I'm not missing anything. It's not the cleanest, so I will say the front is very clean. The back, not so much. There is a lot of whitening on it, especially along the edges here. The bottom has like a weird nick right here, so it's not the cleanest copy. I mean, if I were to grade this, it would probably be at best get a 6, 7 if we're lucky. But overall, this one's about a $300 to $400 card in this condition. That, along with the First Edition cards, which were about $500, I think $550 maybe on the higher side, along with this card, already paid for the entire lot. So everything else that we're going to look through is going to pretty much be all profit and just icing on the cake. And I have so much more inventory now. And I was already running low, so I'm glad to be able to pick all this stuff up. So the next one's going to be a Dragonite. It's a pretty near mint copy of the movie promo. That one's usually about like $40 to $50. Japanese Meganium holo, very clean. So that one's about $15, $20. Alakazam EX, what a beautiful holo pattern. It's got like a little bit of whitening there at the bottom, so it's pretty beat up. Heavy play probably, so like $10 to $20 I think is what I'm going to put that at. Meloetta EX, Rayquaza EX as well. I think this one's like $30 to $40. I'm not entirely sure. And now we have some XY evolution stuff. So we have the regular holo. I think it's about $60-ish. We have the Mega Charizard EX. This one I just traded in actually for that Hitmonchan. This one's about $52, $53. And then we have the reverse holo. So the guy I bought this from was definitely ripping a lot of this. I couldn't be happier to be now the owner of it. And so these are all pretty clean overall. Another Rayquaza EX. I think this is Roaring Skies. Yeah, Roaring Skies. And then this one actually kind of surprises. So this Groudon EX, I think, is roughly about $50 to $75, depending on exactly where you look at your comps. I think TCG players on the higher side, but I think eBay last solds have this around like $50 to $60. So that was a surprise for me. I thought it was just going to be a regular EX card. Then we have this Kingdra, First Edition from Neo Revelation, and it's an unverified signature of Arita. So I don't know exactly what I want to do with this, nor how to value it. I may send it in for grading for auto, for DNA certification. I don't know yet, but it was pretty cool to have it. So I thought that was an interesting piece. This one, Raichu base set holo from Expedition. it's a pretty beat up copy, but I'm completing and master setting this. So the fact that I'm probably going to get this for free after all this stuff sells is awesome. And I think on its own, it's even in this condition, it's like 70, 80 bucks. So I thought that was a steal. I'm going to put that to the side because I'm going to put that in my binder. Then we get into some regular hollows. So we have Vaporeon from Jungle, usually about 20 bucks, Ninetales. So pretty much everything we're going to that's vintage is going to be based off of recent comps. So all these prices should be pretty accurate. So Ninetales is about $10. This Machamps, I think they're probably 10 bucks each. And then these the Malamar EX, all these little EXs are probably going to be anywhere between like $2 to $5 maybe. Zoroark's literally like a bulk card, which is like the only bulk card out of everything, which I thought was nice. So just a nice little mixture of binder cards and cards to go into the case. So and grading. So there's a giant amount of variety in this that I couldn't be more happy with. Now, if I'm assuming correct so far, we're almost at about $1,500 in total value, if not more. So now we're going to reach down to the final lot that I bought. I'm not entirely sure how I did with this one, and it's to be determined because of the new set that's coming out, the EX Emeralda, I think it's called. I have picked up a few Rayquaza cards over the last few weeks, kind of playing into that set that releases pretty soon over the summer. The only thing with this one, I think this one came in from the tins. It has a beautiful swirl right there in the middle. It's a perfect placement. The only thing is when I bought this lot, the pictures were very fuzzy and I did not see these creases. I don't know if you can catch it. There you go. So I did not see these creases that were on there when I bought it. This is sometimes the risks you're going to take when you buy these lots. So those creases were the main thing that kind of bummed me out when I looked at it, but the back is actually pretty good. It's, LPMP-ish on the back, but those creases alone move it to heavy play and damaged, which the comps on this are kind of all over the place. It's anywhere between $200 to $300. I mean, the last PSA 3 was $300, I think, on the last comp earlier this month. But as a raw copy, it's about $200 to $250. So it kind of just depends on how this is going to turn out over the next month as we get into the summer. But I saw this line, I figured, let's take the risk. If anything, I may break even or maybe even make a little bit more profit. But like I said, we'll kind of determine that as we go along. And then the next one is going to be another Rayquaza. This one's from EX Emerald. This is just a regular holo, not the reverse. This one is actually pretty clean overall. It does have also a slight dent on it in the front too. So that kind of takes away from it a little bit, but copies that are worse actually have recently sold on eBay for also $100. So, and this one has a nice little swirl on it too, right there. So both of those I was really happy to pick up, and those are the main things that I saw on the lot that I wanted to get. So here's everything else that's pretty notable. We have our next one, Snorlax from Jungle. I think this one goes about 50 bucks for a moderately played copy. Eevee from Delta Species. So a lot of good reverses in this one too. I think this one goes for like 60 bucks. Persian from Delta Species also looks really good. A lot of these were held. He shipped these inside the actual binder sleeves, so they weren't sleeved individually. So unfortunately, they do have some surface scratching and some edge wear, but not a whole lot considering their age. So they all look pretty good. Here's another Delta Species reverse. We have a Latios and Latias from the, I think the theme decks is what they were. Sorry, the Latios and Latias, they're from the Trainer Toolkit. So we have the pair of those. We have a Garchomp holo as well. We have a Pidgeot holo from Pop Series 2. I think this is a promo because the first 5 Pop Series packs didn't have holos, if I'm remembering correctly. We have a Legendary Collection Raticate. Not the most popular Pokemon, but overall pretty good condition. It does have a little bit of rising right there, unfortunately, so that will take away from it being a much cleaner copy, which sucks because overall it's actually pretty clean. And we also have an Ampharos. I think this one's Dragon Frontiers. We have another cool energy. These energies actually surprise me because these energies can go anywhere between $10 to $20, maybe even more depending on the condition. And I think this one's like 20 to 25 bucks, but the holo pattern is really sick. So there's that one. We have an Igglybuff from Crystal Guardians. And all these are, like I said, probably now we're getting to ones that are like maybe $8 to $10. But here's a Spearow from Crystal Guardians. We have not one, but 2 Vigoroths from Power Keepers reverse. We have a very cool Salamence reverse from EX Dragon. We have a Skitty. I think this is from Ruby Sapphire. So like maybe another $10 card. Zigzagoon is going to be from EX Sandstorm. I think this one's right at $8. And so these last ones are just going to be some regular reverses that I found just scattered throughout the lot. And so some of them are really good. Some are damaged, like the Skitty right here. Another Vigoroth, Farfetch'd, and then like a Rayquaza EX promo. This one's pretty beat, so this one's probably no more than like $5. And so finding lots like this do take some strategies and some experience onto what to look for, as well as some risk taking, because sometimes this is just not going to play out, and some of these lots you may not end up breaking even on, and you might take a loss depending on what it is, because you're not always going to win on some of these. Like I said, with this Rayquaza lot, I don't know how that's going to turn out. Like I said, it just really kind of depends what this card decides to do by the time I decide to want to sell it at my next show in June. So if I did my math correctly, we overall spent about $2,100, whereas the market value for everything that we just looked over is about $4,100. And that does not yet include the grading plays of this Gengar as well as this Hitmonchan, which could add an additional $800 to overall value, which if we're just looking at it from percentages, that's roughly about 52% of market value. And that's better than anything I've ever picked up from trade shows from buying collections. And so if you're wondering how I found these deals, I want you to stay tuned for the next video. And my follow-up, I'm going to be talking about on the strategies on how to search on eBay and Mercari to find deals like this, and what are some other ways you can try to find the best deals that you can to try to secure more inventory. So stay tuned for that one. I'll see you guys next time.